Hi, and welcome to Creating Top Producers. My name's Patricia Stapler, and I'm your show host. And today I have a very special lady with me, Yvonne McCoy, and we're not too far away from where we live. We both are in Pennsylvania, and I believe, right? You're in Pennsylvania, is that right?
Yes, I am. I'm in Philadelphia.
That's what I was thinking. Okay. So Yvonne works and likes dealing with entrepreneurs. And, if you're having sporadic sales and you want to elevate your client base, she's the one to go to. And she goes about doing that with a program called Clients Trust Journey, which she started after COVID. Yvonne, can you share more about that with our audience?
Oh, absolutely. Um, I think a lot of times we can operate at a lot of different levels. And before COVID, I was operating in kind of just a really comfortable zone. I was coaching women executives for nonprofits. I liked what I was doing. It wasn't stressful. It was fun. It was interesting to see how they worked, that kind of thing. And then I went into the hospital for 5 days. I did not go in for COVID. But when I came out, the whole world was shut down for COVID, and I had lost all my clients, all my all my organizational clients and good paying clients because they couldn't even pay their staff. And they couldn't figure out how to run their business without people coming in and doing events and that kind of stuff. And I thought to myself, well, the first thing that happened, which was the shock, was that I did not have a well-oiled business. I had a junk drawer, things that I had collected over 30 years of being an entrepreneur. I had high-paying programs. I had courses that I had taken. I had downloadables. I had just stuff, lots of stuff. And I was like, oh my God, there's not one focus to this. There's not, where am I going? So if I had to reinvent my business, I wanted to be a business that I liked. I wanted something that, what I say to my clients, what's your heart business? What's the thing that you would do for nothing? But then that's not a business. So we need to put another look at that. So we take your heart business and your head business and put it together and see what's going on. And so what I found for a lot of entrepreneurs they were really good at what they did, but they didn't know the back end of the business. And as I went into that further, my clients, their clients are really happy with them. Do you know? So they don't have a service delivery problem. They have a client attraction problem. And at that point, I realized I had a client attraction problem too. I could get people results, but I didn't have a way to find clients. And so that's how I got into this business. And I guess the thing that, Patricia, you and I were on a summit together this weekend. And in one of the breakout rooms, something happened. And I said, you don't need to be fixed. You just need to be found. And I think that's where my clients are. They have a solution to a specific problem that they deliver really well. They just don't know how to stand out so their ideal or their right client can find them.
One of the things we talk about a lot on this show is your mindset. And, when COVID hit, there were a lot of people that probably questioned many things. But when you found out you'd lost all your business, how did that affect your thinking, your thought process? Because obviously you must have looked at it and said, okay, I need to do something different.
Yeah. Well, I'm a bit older than probably most people in your audience. And so one of the first thoughts was, should I retire?
Mhm.
Unfortunately, I don't think I have the retirement gene.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it's an option for me, which is really difficult because my husband has retired, right?
Mhm.
And so, I often say that I have so much resilience. Sometimes I think to myself, just stay down and don't get up and get knocked down again. So that was part of it. And part of the mindset was that I actually could have a business that I really liked, that I liked doing, I didn't have to be out there for everybody. Do you
Mhm.
know that I think one of the things that entrepreneurs forget all the time is you can actually say no to somebody. I mean,
Mhm.
we as entrepreneurs, we go through this arc. And at one point in your business, you are at what I call the entrepreneurial prostitution stage. You will take anybody. It's kind of, if the price is right, I can do it, right? Because you need the cash flow and stuff.
Mhm.
But once you can move out of that, and one of the ways you move out of that is with the mindset of who can I serve the best? Because if you're an entrepreneur, chances are you're going to give your people everything you've got, regardless whether the right client or not. And so what I found is you can spend more time with the wrong client and they're never happy. It's like, for whatever reason, you're not that right fit and you can
Mhm.
never get to the point where they're happy. So why not do 2 or 3 clients that really love you, that you can pour everything into them and get, stellar kinds of outcomes and really enjoy it. So I think that's a mindset shift that for the right person, I am gold and they're willing to pay me top dollar for that. I don't have to negotiate and say, well, I'll mark it down for you, or I mean, one of the things that I love is I go, this is my program, or they'll say, how much does it cost to work with you? And I tell them the price and they go, okay, I'm going to pay in full. I mean, that is so different than what it used to be.
Right. So, so when you help somebody being found, how do you go about doing that?
um, I hate to say this, there's no magic to it. It is really about being very clear, first of all, on your message. So people really know what you do, who you're looking for. So when I did my introduction, I said to you, I'm looking for people who've invested in themselves and have been in high ticket programs and not gotten results, right?
Right.
Um, and people are happy with their service. So they don't have a service delivery problem. They have a client attraction problem. So you either relate to that or you don't, right? So when I start my program, the first thing we do is we work on their introduction. Too many times when people give their introduction, they are giving not what people need to hear. And so I say your introduction, if you want a gooey brownie and you go in a bakery and say, I want your best gooey brownie, and they go, okay, here's 2 cups of flour, here's a half a cup of cocoa and a recipe, you're not going to be very happy, right? And so you have to be able to tell people very quickly and very simply what it is that you do and how it, the hook that relates to you have to get their attention, right? So, I mean, I've worked with people who are really good at what they do and they start out, I'm a scientist. I have 30 years of, or I'm so and so, I've done 30 years of training. Your audience doesn't care.
Right.
You
Right.
put you put that in a longer presentation or something like how that's helped you. What they want to know is who do you work with and how do you help them? So the first thing we do is we work on your introduction and we get you out there networking, right? Because you can use that networking to flex your introduction muscle. You go into a room, you do an introduction, and then you say to yourself, did people, seem like they related to that? Did they lean in? I was talking with a person that does sales in Australia. And I said to her, the time difference has got to be a killer. And she goes, hey, I got to tell you, I have my best sales when I show up and say, hi, guys, I'm in Australia. It's 2 o'clock in the morning for me. What's it? They go, 2 o'clock. If she's willing to show up at 2 o'clock, I should listen to what she has to say. So that's the first start of it. Just being there and being out consistently. Probably the most alarming thing I ever heard was especially if you're doing one-on-one, you have to talk to 50 people a month. And I'm like, oh my God, am I even talking to 50 people a year? Right? Because I was doing
Mhm.
organizations before. So that was like, so you don't have to talk to them one-on-one. You can go to networking, get exposed to a lot of people that way. And so showing up regularly is a way that you can refine your message and find the people that you want to collaborate with. Find the people you don't find clients or customers at networking. I mean, you should not go to that with that mindset. You should go with who can I meet? Who is a good partner for me in my business? How can we support each other? Does their audience need what I have?
Right. So, so when you meet with these new people, Like what do you say to them that they really want to hear? Like what pain are they in? What are they looking for when they come to you?
They are trying to get more sales. They want to make sales. So my program, basically, I consider my program an implementation program. And so the first, when we meet, we do a 2-hour deep dive into your business. So I can see what you've got, what assets you already have, because I don't believe in duplicating things that you've got that are already
Right.
working. I want to, there was an ad a long time ago that goes, it was a chemical company, it goes, we don't make so and so, we make so and so work better. And I always thought,
Mm-hmm.
well, that was kind of like me, and sometimes it's placement. It's like they need something before this, or you're introducing this too early, or you don't have enough touches in your system for them to get to know you. And it used to be that, you only needed 7 touches. Now sometimes you need 12. So how do
Or
you,
more.
or more. So how do you touch them? How do you do it in a way that you can do them consistently and be available? So the other part is you can make your own stage. You can set something up where once a month or twice a month you have open office hours or Q&As or something like that. And
Mm-hmm.
I tell my people, the first 4 times you'll probably be sitting on Zoom by yourself, but that's an hour that you can dedicate to how do I get more people to come to this, right? And then at some point you're going to want to do your own workshop, or webinar, right? So that you're getting out there and people know you for what it is, but what it is that you do. And like I said, you don't need to be fixed, you just need to be found. And so part of that is taking off what I call the professional veneer. We're told we're supposed to act a certain way and be a certain way, and when you can relax and just do it your way. I mean, when I did my first workshop, I had, I think, 42 PowerPoint slides. And then I took a course that was supposed to make it better, and it was like 50 something. And I was like, I'm not doing this. I like interaction. So I'm not doing a
Mm-hmm.
workshop. I'm not doing a webinar. I'm doing a workshop where you actually participate while we're going along, right? And then somebody said, oh, I got this new AI program, and they gave me 72 slides. I'm probably down to 9 now, and that's the way I like it. That's me,
Yeah.
and so you have to, I talk about the 5 R's, and it's doing the right thing for the right reason at the right time, the right way, and it's right for you. So I'll tell you one of my, what I consider to be one of my biggest failures. I was, in a program, and they're like, we're doing this 3-day thing, and you can be a sponsor and be in the gift box and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, these people are my people. She's a really high priced program. They'll probably gonna. And so I put a lot of thought into this, right? It was going to cost me $1,000 for whatever thing I was paying for to go in the box, and I had to, do some other things. So in the end, it ended up costing me $2,000. And I was very thoughtful. I mean, I had a very limited budget. And, one of the things that I could have bought was like the clips that you do for potato chips.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Yes.
like, are you really in a business frame of mind when you're eating your potato chips? Probably not. So I finally settled on a little round thing that had a sponge in it that you could clean your computer surface and you could clean your glasses. I'm like, yes, this will stay on somebody's desk. This is a good thing. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I went, the idea was I wanted to grow my list. I wanted to get clients. So I had the right reason to do what I was doing. It was absolutely the wrong time, right? And out of that $2,000 that I spent for that wonderful little thing, I got absolutely nobody. Nobody. Not one person on my email list, not one person signed up for my course. So, you know, you can be told a strategy, which might actually be a good strategy for somebody else at a different time in their business, but it was the wrong time and the wrong thing for me to do. That $2,000 I could have invested in my business doing other basic things that I needed. It was far too advanced for what I was doing.
That was kind of my whole beginning of my business, doing things I was not ready for, doing them before I was ready. And, at the time, like you said, you thought you were doing a really good strategy that was the right thing to do. And it's only when you look back and you're like, that was a good strategy, but not when I did it.
Yeah.
And I know there's many things that I was always putting the cart before the horse.
Yeah. Well, we're taught, you jump into the entrepreneurial world and they say, think big,
Right.
right? And I'm not against thinking big, but I think, the think big is where I want to be. What is right for me right now so I can
Mhm.
get to the think big. And so one of the easiest ways that you can be found is by speaking.
Mhm.
Like I said, you can make your own platform and it doesn't cost you a thing. I mean, if you've already got a Zoom account, you can, just have a Zoom sign up and see who shows up. Um, you can speak on other people's platforms. You can, just like this TV show, or Patricia was on my podcast, or if you show up at networking, that again is a way to speak and refine your talk. So I always say to people, if you give your introduction in your networking and you get no response, don't think that it's wrong. Go back and see who was in your room. Are these the people
Mhm.
that are my right audience? If I was giving my talk and it was the room was all about, I don't know, how to set up your systems, your tech stuff, and they didn't respond to what I was saying, I wouldn't be upset because they're not my audience.
Right.
So I think that's the thing, that you have to be able to say, this is me, this is not me. I mean, the best question somebody said to me was, when videos got to be the big thing in social media and stuff, she was like, you need to do videos, you need to do videos, and I go, I'm probably never going to do a video. I am not going to take a picture of my dinner. I'm not going to dance on TikTok. I'm just not going to do that, right? And she said, she was a marketing person. She said, well, what have you done in the past that you like doing, that you've done for a long period of time? And I said, I had a blog talk radio show for 3 years. And she said, why did you like that? And I said, I'm a good talker. And I liked the idea that I was also investigating. At that time, I was doing it on weight loss. I liked the idea that I got to experiment with a lot of things and try new products and experiences and stuff like that. And she said, well, you can do that with what you're doing in your business now. So when you are doing something that you like, it is much easier to do it more.
Right. So let's just go back a little bit because, what brought you into what you're doing now? Because, there's always something I find with coaches that something triggered them to go off on their own and to become an entrepreneur. And so what was that for you?
You mean way back in the way back?
Oh, whenever it was, Yvonne.
Um, well, after being in corporate for about 20 years, um, I was laid off. And, the polite way of saying that was my contract was not renewed. And I realized that my whole personality was my job. And so that's part of what I teach people is, where are the people in their journey that are the people that you work with. And I was at that 40 some years old. Um, late 40s. It's like, I'm almost 50. There's got to be something different. This is not the way I imagined my life being. And part of that is because, we're raised, that if you're a certain age, you're raised to think you're going to work a job and then retire.
Right.
But that is long gone. So the funny story is, I had gone to the beach because I did that after every tax season, to kind of recuperate. And this poor marketing guy walked up to me, this teenager walked up with a clipboard and said, can you tell me, what you do, where you're employed? And I went, I don't do anything. I'm nobody. And this poor kid was like, oh my God, psycho woman, right? And I thought, I was at a time when my kids were still in high school and I had a couple of years before they were going to go to college. And I thought, I want to do something I want to do. right? I mean, I was getting my unemployment and, and could have time. And that's when I decided that I wanted to tutor tutor adults who wanted to learn how to read. So I volunteered for an adult literacy program, which I was terrible at, I should tell you. Because I think the reason I wanted to do it is because I couldn't read as a kid. And so when I started working with
Okay.
people who couldn't read, I think it just triggered all my emotional stuff about that, right? And I couldn't slow my brain down. I mean, I have all the respect in the world, and they are some of the smartest people. They have learned to cope in so many different ways. Um, I was great at teaching them math. I was great at teaching them life skills, but I couldn't teach them to read. And so from there, I went into workforce development with the literacy organization that I was with, and I was really good. I basically said, if I'm going to start over, I'm not going to pretend I have the answers. I'm just going to say, I don't get it, and give myself permission that I didn't have to put myself out there as somebody who knew it all. And
Mm-hmm.
the first company we went into, they were, the other professionals, educators were putting out their strategy and stuff like that. And they go, what do you think? And I said, I don't get it. I don't understand what you're trying to do. And they said, well, how would you do it? And I said, well, here's the problem. Here's the solution. What are the steps I need to get there? And they went, oh my God, that usually takes us 2 days to figure that out. I'm like, it's so that was when I first realized that one of my gifts there, I can get you from A to B really fast,
Mm-hmm.
and my father said to me once when I was in Girl Scout, I needed to get a whole bunch of badges really fast to get this award I wanted. My father said, you're the only person I know that got a traveler's award and never left the living room. So that was the beginning of it, beginning to understand that I had a particular skill set that I was really good at, right? And that I could go in and diagnose a problem and come up with a good solution based on what outcome people wanted,
Mm-hmm.
right? And part of that came from working in the tax business, because one day in the tax business is like 4 days in a regular business. Things are changing constantly. You gotta
Mm-hmm.
update. The IRS sends out a thing that they're not doing this anymore. And suddenly you have to, you have to have everybody that's working for you, all 300 people that were working for me, had to be updated on that thing overnight and put it into the works. And so I got really good at how do people accelerate their learning and implementation. But one of the things that I did was every summer we went to the shore and we went to this bookstore, and I got this book called 22 life strategies everybody needs, or something like that. It was by Thomas Leonard, who is the father of coaching. And I got it for my class. I was like, these are things I can teach them, right? So I open it
Mm-hmm.
up, I read the first chapter and go, oh my God, I need that. Oh my God, I need that. Oh my God, I need that. And then at the end of the book, it said, if you found this helpful and you think you'd like to be a coach, sign up for our free webinar, which I did. And I signed up and went through the coaching program. So that's how I started coaching, because I lost my job.
Okay. But
Well,
you found very quickly something that you were good at. And a lot of times people don't really know what they're really good at because they never spend time thinking about it. They
but
just kind of get in a job or they just, you know, and they may find that they enjoy it, but sometimes they find they don't.
but the other thing is, one of my favorite sayings is from Buckminster Fuller. He goes, we're
Mm.
all born geniuses, and then it's educated out of us.
Yeah,
And
that's the
and
truth.
and this is kind of one of my favorite frameworks, is that when we were an agricultural society, productivity was bushels per acre. And when you had during, the education during that time was the one
Mhm.
room schoolhouse. And so everybody could move at whatever it was a collaborative learning situation. Okay. Fast forward to industrial, right? And suddenly it's widgets per hour, which is why we think productivity is checking off how much can I get done in an hour, half an hour, something like that.
Mhm.
And from an educational perspective, what that is teaching you to follow instructions, teaching you to be a good employee, teaching you to follow the rules. Has not been about thinking outside of the box, you know. It's changing somewhat, but you know, I remember in geometry, um, I was in an advanced geometry class and I never read the chapter unless I couldn't solve the problem. So I go in and everybody's saying, oh, it took me 26 steps. Oh, it took me 20 steps. And I'm thinking it only took me 3. Right. And my teacher says, Yvonne, come up, put the proof on the board. And I put my little 3 steps up and he looks at it and he shakes his head. And he goes, yes, that'll work. But would you please start reading the book? And then he goes, well, somebody come up and put up the right answer. Now, really, what is the right answer? Something you can do in 3 steps or something that you can do in 20 steps, right? So you're not rewarded for thinking outside of the box. So now we're in the informational society where people are not hiring you for information because it's everywhere.
Yeah.
They're hiring you. How do I use it? How do I get through all the stuff that's out there to what I actually need? And a really simple, again, historical perspective on that is we went to Spain and we got a recipe for paella. And so, because when I found out about this history of productivity, I was telling everybody, right? So my husband comes up and he goes, you're going to love this. Do you know that this dish was actually a farm dish? They actually did it in the fields with whatever they could find. And it was meant to just be a bulk rice dish that would feed all the farmhands. So it had snails, it had rabbits, it had everything you could find. Go to the industrial, now we have cookbooks. You put in so many cups of rice, you put in so many shrimp, you put in so many, you know, it's like very precise. And the problem with that is your oven is different than my oven. My taste buds are different than your taste buds. So we can both follow the same recipe and come out with totally different results, right? Now we're in the informational. My husband spent 2 days on YouTube finding all these other different recipes, came up with ingredients that he really liked, and came up with his own. And it is fabulous, right? So that's where I'm trying to help people to move to is how do you help your clients? What is your gift that helps your clients implement what they have or what you have so they get results faster? You're giving them a spin on something. You're helping them through something a problem they don't know that they have. So what is it that they expect to get from you? And then what is the unperceived reward that they get? So somebody said to me the other day, so you do packaging? And I go, no, I don't. And then I went, wait, maybe I do. Because that's part of it. How to be seen, you have to be the whole thing. You have to be able to stand out, right? And so that has to do with what are the services that you offer? What are the price points that you do it? And one of my clients said to me, I've been struggling with prices for like forever. And you put together this price range and packages for me in like 10 minutes. Right?
Right.
So you don't know we don't know what our own unique skill is. We have to have an outside perspective, whether it's our clients that tell us or whether it's other people as like coaches or when you're network or whatever.
Yeah. So I know we're coming to the end of our time here. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, how are they going to do that? I see you have your book a call there behind you, but how else could they, reach out to you? Is there any other way?
Absolutely. I do a workshop every month that's called Attract Your Right Clients with Your Unique Power. It is the 3rd Wednesday of every month, and it is at YvonneMcCoy.com, /workshop. The other thing is I have the free gift if you are building your business. It's called Clarify Your Client's Journey from Pain to Trust to Profit. And it is bite-sized pieces that you can take a look at your business. If you've ever been stuck with that question, who's your ideal client? This is a course that you're going to want to take because people get so stuck on that they can't do anything moving forward. In this course, we're going to find out what's unique about you that your clients love and what are the clients that you love to have, right? So you can say, you're a good match for me. you're not a good match for me, and you can really enjoy what you're doing in your business, and you can charge, they value you, so you can charge what you're worth.
Okay, so we will put some of that information in the show notes, and you can go there and reach out to Yvonne and book a call with her or go to her workshop.
When, I don't know if we've got time, but when you book a call, we will talk about what your unique power is, where the gaps are in your client attraction, and what low-lying fruit that you've got that you could be making money at but didn't think you could because you didn't look at it with, I'm really good at this.
Okay, so go ahead, book your call with Yvonne, and I want to thank you again for being a guest. And yes, to your success.
To yours, thank you so much.
Thank you.